Literally Me is a relatively new and loosely packed genre of movies that has been recently invented, and it involves movies about broken men on the fringes of society, whether that may be voluntary or not. Some may call them Sigma males. Others would diagnose them with antisocial personality disorder. Despite what is commonly said by woke media nowadays about movies not being diverse enough, the men that are present in the Literally Me genre are surprisingly one of the most diverse collections of people in movies, whether that may be a mentally ill man trying to get by in a society that doesn't care about him, an egotistical man that has lived his entire life in mediocrity and wants to show the world that he actually means something, a socially awkward lonesome tough guy that finds a woman that he loves but has to let her go due to his criminal life, a schizophrenic man who wants to break out of the conformity of modern life, or otherwise. These men could not be further apart in terms of the way they live their life. But they are all connected in some way or another. What do these characters all have in common? Why do so many men relate to these movies? Do these men connect with these characters ironically for the sake of some laughs, or is there some darker truth behind the jokes? As a person who has watched nearly every Literally Me movie, I think more than anything, these movies resonate with men, whether ironically or not, because they make men feel seen. Men are virtually invisible nowadays, in a life full of dating apps and OnlyFans, where women are given all of the attention, and these movies show the emotions that many people dismiss in a clear and disturbingly realistic way. The men in these movies rebel against the society that failed them, often resorting to violence. This violence is most clearly seen in Fight Club, where the narrator is literally causing a revolution that would eventually lead to society crumbling from the ground up. Another main reason why these movies are so prevalent nowadays is that there really is no movie nowadays that tackles the very real struggle of men's emotions from the inside out. Most movies that come out nowadays are bland and safe movies that feel like they came out of a conveyor belt. They rarely ever do anything creative with their characters and often end up resorting to stereotypical character tropes and dialogue that will do nothing to challenge the status quo. The reason why Joker is so popular and made so much money is because the media were targeting Joker and making it look like incel propaganda, which, ironically, is the exact point the movie itself is trying to prove. Movies targeted towards male emotions will always be dismissed and looked at with pity and resentment, no matter how objectively good the movie itself is, similarly to how Gotham dismisses its homeless and mentally ill population. That's also why MCU movies are looked at nowadays as borderline memes. They are basic enough to get the lowest common denominator to watch them, but do nothing to make a genuinely good movie. That's also why the Batman was so popular. Almost every aspect of it was unique and not like anything that we see nowadays. The Batman is the newest addition to the Literally Me genre because everything from the cinematography to the deep dive into a broken man's psyche was unique and exceptional. Making every movie as diverse and filled to the brim with objectively bad LGBT characters often makes a movie worse, because the movies tend to fixate on these people's identities rather than their deep feelings and emotions. Another reason why Literally Me movies are so popular is this: men have been constantly stepped on in the past century, and these movies show these men's unhappiness, which is certainly a product of the society they are living in. There is a clear mutual hatred between these men and society, as both are indirectly and perhaps unknowingly trying to get back at each other. For example, the idea that all men should remain emotionless and stoic may build up silent hatred and resentment towards life, where no one would know what's happening on the inside of many men until it's too late. These men would then commit horrific crimes like school shootings because it would grant them the emotional satisfaction they've been denied their entire life. Yes, guns may be the problem, but the emotional dismissiveness of society towards men is also a problem. Similarly, these movies often involve a point of no return, where the main character does something unforgivable that releases all of that emotional tension in a chilling scene. Oftentimes, the people in these scenes die or are seriously harmed, and it involves some of the best acting of any movie, which adds to the emotional believability of the characters. For example, for the entirety of American Psycho, Patrick Bateman is relatively stoic and shows little to no emotions, which makes it all the more shocking when he is crying on the phone, confessing to his crimes, where all of the built-up emotional tension gets released in a remarkable and profound way. In a way, these movies are a cautionary tale on the effects of modern society's dismissiveness towards mentally ill men. There is a large portion of men that get their emotions out through exercise or fighting instead of seeking professional help. If men aren't granted a safe way to let their emotions out, they may release their pent-up anger in ways that may harm other people. Another common attribute of the characters in the literally me genre is that the characters release their anger and dissatisfaction against society outwards in the form of violence against other people. Some others release their anger because they haven't gotten a chance to express how they really feel to others. Oftentimes, men don't really know why they feel the way that they feel, so they take out their emotions in more stereotypically masculine ways, whether that may be going to the gym to get a better body, fighting others to near death in cage fights, or going to war. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The movies show how these alternative methods are less effective than more social ways of expressing your emotions. Like in Fight Club, where in the end, the narrator ends up regretting the crimes that he's committed throughout the movie but finds solace in Marla. Why are these characters relatable though? Oftentimes, the movie is intentionally made to relate to others. For example, the main characters of Drive and Fight Club are purposely nameless and ambiguous, giving the viewer an empty canvas for them to fill with their own experiences and theories. The viewers are not exactly relating to the heinous crimes committed by these characters, but rather the things that cause those actions, namely the sadness and the loneliness that comes from being kicked to the curb by society. These characters are sad and have nowhere to go, which leaves them not knowing what to do with that sadness. There are disappointingly few places where men can express emotions without being mocked, which leaves them in comment sections commenting he's literally me or real. The literally me genre of movies has arguably some of the greatest movies of all time. Each of these movies has masterful acting, cinematography, stories, and exceptionally relates to the male population more than any other movie. It's a damn shame that many people dismiss these movies because they simply see them as memes rather than the masterpieces that they are.